Okay. Hey, what's going on for you first? Alright, so the title is like your heart and success. So Capricorn. Oh, okay, so Capricorn told me yesterday, your failure is not great. That's the way I would say. I wouldn't even say a failure to edit her, but quote unquote, to say exactly what she said. You said your failure is based on your Your failure is based on not the position of your mind, not the position of your body, but the position of your heart. So, with that being said, I 100% agree with that, and that kind of made me think in many regards because she was talking about heart set, not really mindset. And heart can be if you're not really like a heart person per se, like you don't know the attunement of your heart, you can say to your subconscious mind. Because really, your heart is your subconscious mind. So I'm very astrological, or mystical in that regard. So, your heart is in the placement of your fifth house. So, my fifth house is in Sagittarius, and also when I go back to the planet of Jupiter, it's in Sagittarius. I also have to find out what conjuncts that and what aspects of Jupiter that is. Anyway, I should probably figure that out really soon. But outside of that, so we're going to go through the zodiac really quickly. So I'm going to go through from an intuitive level what I understand about where the fifth house placements are. So if intuitively, because I haven't studied it too much, but that's also the gifting of the fifth house, etc., etc. Nope. But okay. Okay. So what? Oh yeah, I do. Hold on. Hold on. Hold on. I block somebody in this bitch. Okay, I can do that. What? Anyway, I have to block somebody really fast. But yeah, so basically, our Instagram. Anyway, I wish I had more of a block button on here, B. I'll go back later and I'll block him. But anyway, yeah, but the position of your fifth house, so Aries in fifth house. So I would say the gifting of the Aries in the fifth house is because Sag and Aries get along really well. They're actually truly best friends. Actually, in many regards, I get along really, really well with Sagittarius, except when I'm in my Taurus-like nature of like being more controlling and being more practical and like uh, and more of like the tangible have shit. Um, uh, but sexually, we have good chemistry as well. But not even having sex, but more of a chemistry of like going back and forth because I'm more practical and they're more uh, the seer. So I'm like the seer and they're the seer. I'm the haver. So I'm more of money and getting your shit together, etc., etc. We work really well when we respect how we do things. So, and I think that's a more of an earth fire element, but without getting too deep into astrology. But they have to really respect each other's point of view because the Sagittarius can be very impractical. The Sagittarius can be very impulsive from they don't give a fuck how to create it. They just go out and create and go figure that shit out. Taurus, on the other hand, will do that if they have to, but the Taurus is more of if it don't make logic, it don't make sense. And that's why I don't really, even though I am a Taurus, but I'm very much like engulfed in Aries energy. So my mind is not really that practical. It's practical in the sense of like having shit. Like I'm more of the concepts of Taurus, not necessarily the being of Taurus. I just have its concepts. So having is a concept that I use in its practicality. So like when I partner with people, I use my Taurus thinking and I say, what do they have that I don't have, etc., etc. So back to the fifth house. So fifth house rules, and I just found out. What I just found out is obsession is lied in fifth house, which is interesting. Um, Monia, that's how you say that. No, mania, or I would say, or childhood. Okay. No worries. Childhood behaviors, or your likes, your hobbies. Um, or lodged in the fifth house. Fifth house is lodged in. Fifth house is the house of Leo. So it's the house of entertainment. It's the house of the sun. It's the house of um, children. It's the house of um, what else is fifth house lodged in? Fifth house is more of, well, they said the house. Fifth house is the house of children. Fifth house is the house of entertainment. Fifth house is the house of romance. Fifth house is the house of pleasure. It says pleasure, love, entertainment, and how you express oneself. So, like I saw it has like, okay, so there are 12 houses in the fifth. It's not the middle, but fifth is the holding center of your spinal cord of your being. So, fifth house would be who you truly are from a pulsive level. So what that really means is, let's say for me, what I really truly understand is I really value freedom. So so not even like on an Aries level or a Leo level, but from a very Sagittarius level. Um, I don't like being told what to do about my life, how to live it, and that's very sad. Like Aries, on the other hand, Aries can bend depending on who they are around, and that's everybody, but they're even though they don't give a fuck, but they can be very influenced by who they speak to. Um, the Sag, on the other hand, they're that, but 9 times out of 10, if a Sag has their own philosophy, their Sag has their own way of thinking, they kind of stick to it. They care for what you think if it makes sense to their analytical mind. If it doesn't make sense to their analytical mind, they kind of throw your shit in the garbage. And that's kind of the way I am. Like if your philosophy doesn't make sense to me, if your ideas, your thoughts, your train of thoughts doesn't make sense to me, I throw your shit away. And it's kind of bullshit in many regards. So the fifth house really has to rule. Your heart has to align with mine, and if your heart doesn't align with mine, I kind of throw your shit away in many regards. So okay, so that makes a lot of sense. So back to the fifth house. So my fifth house is in Sagittarius, which is ruled by Leo. So psychically, so let me start with Aries. So Aries will be the gift of the obsession with being the first. And you have a gift of seeing, but it's more of a willpower thing. So you have to will yourself to develop the ability to see. But you have an obsession with being the first because you're in the house of Leo. So the ability, let's say you have Aries in the fifth house, so it would be you have to develop your will to be the first, because a lot of times, even though it's innate to you, you are often tested in that regard, because where the sun is, you're burnt out. So you can easily burn yourself out being the first. So let's say you get there naturally, and really the test is not even getting there. The test is probably staying there. Especially from an Aries perspective, going through a lot of naivete, going through a lot of pain, going through a lot of frustration, because you're always like doing shit on your own. So like your identity is really shaped and shifted by your willpower. In many regards, because Aries is the I am. So if your Aries is in 5th house, don't be shocked if you're tested a lot. Um, if your ego is tested. So whether that be how Paulo Coelho says it, life will test you when you have nothing and it's happening all at once, or you have it all and it's happening all at that time. So you have the ability to develop your willpower, but it's based on who you are, what you can do, and really like your principles, what you corely value. Because who you are at heart, and at the end in Aries, I read you have to put yourself first in that predicament. Taurus and 5th house would be more of the obsession of having, and the naivete, and the habits of shopping, doing material things, etc., etc., having wealth, having money, having power, having position. A lot of just having materialistic. That's very natural for you at heart. It's who you are. But one of the faults of Taurus in the 5th house is to not put your will, or your sense of being in your possessions. So you have the nat. So I would what I tell people, especially from Taurus in the 5th house, is you can feel the light around you. You can feel, yeah, definitely. You will feel the warmth and the light around you. That is your natural. Your empathy is heightened to its highest degree, because Leos are empaths. So empathied by the Taurus, they more can go in a room. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if a Taurus in the 5th house is clairsentient. Like a strong clairsentient, they can go in the room and sense everybody's energy, etc., etc., or be able to, if they've developed the gift and the willpower, be able to see auras, be able to see chakras, etc., etc., or chakra spinal points and all that other stuff, or be able to sing, be able to really bless people from the throat chakra itself, because Taurus rules the throat. And the root chakra, but more from what I'm being a Taurus, they rule the throat. You had Taurus, Aries, Taurus, Gemini. So Gemini in the 5th house, it's more how I describe Gemini is that it's like the conscious and subconscious mind. So Gemini in the 5th house would be more of intuitively, more of extremely smart from a philosophical level. They're not like regular Geminis where they kind of like go off of human nature. They really go off books and really kind of, I would even say, the study of humans in a different way, in a way that's more mature, in a way that's more. I'm confusing Sagittarius and Leo. In the 5th house, it would be more of impulsivity, general, like leader, like they're more of a leader when it comes to their decisions. They're more solid in their decisions because they are in their heart. They are in their heart center. So if you let's say your sun is in Gemini and your sun is in 5th house, you don't be surprised if you think from your heart center. Yeah, don't be surprised if you think from your heart center, because the Gemini affirmation is I think. So you be thinking a lot from an emotional standpoint, but not too emotional. But the best thing that would be able to help the Gemini in 5th house would be balancing your heart and your mind at the same time. Hey, what's going on? So Gemini, you have Gemini. What's that? The Gemini. What's that? The Gemini. Oh my God! Hold on. So Taurus, Aries, Taurus, Gemini. And what's that? The Gemini. I know it's not Libra. But let me look this shit up because I forgot what's happening with Gemini. Okay, Cancer. So Cancer in fifth house. So that's a challenging placement. Because subconsciously you know Leo shit. So you're, I don't say you're emotional. You're high. Well, Cancers are emotional, but you can use your emotion for artistry because the Cancer, your emotional kind of like that. Like if your Cancer's in fifth house, you can. It's easy for you to be artists. It's easier for you to be entertainers. It's easier for you to be, especially like a real leader in the entertainment industry. If your fifth house is in Cancer, that's actually Cancer in fifth house would be pretty dope. But you have to be very aware of your emotions because they can either rule you or be ruled by you, or people can take an advantage of your emotions because you're very honest about who you are, what you feel, etc., etc. Like, don't be surprised if your Cancer in fifth house isn't very um, isn't very fond of emotional manipulation. They're probably very protectable with their children, like worse than the average uh, uh, Cancer. Cancer in fifth house really adores the home. They love it to be a royal place. And how that aligns with your success with your fifth house will be really adornment to real estate. Let's see, even especially with your fifth house in Cancer, you can have, like, don't be surprised if you success. You're very much a leader in real estate, homemaking, management, uh, controlling shit, really making shit happen from a very moonlight perspective, or you can be actually very. I wouldn't be surprised if the fifth house in Cancer is actually extremely psychic. Because I know Cancers who are very psychic from a not just an empathetic level. And if your fifth house is in Cancer, you definitely want to get some sage, like OD. It's not even a joke. Protect your energy as much as possible because not only are you a nurturer to people, you're very much a light to people. So you're willing to teach and to really be in a position of leadership because Cancers are naturally managers, but that doesn't make them. Well, it makes them leaders, but not leaders like the Leo, where they're blazing a trail. They're more of management for position and power, not leadership. So for the Cancer, you have to will yourself to be nurturing not only to others but to yourself, because you'll really be about serving. But at the same time, you have to know self. You have to know who you are and whose you are, from a very divine level. The heart in that position. The heart is very warm. The heart is very home-like. I would say the heart is very much about community. In that position. So if the Cancer's in the fifth house, you would have to learn to be about community but be a leader in your community. It would help very much so, because Cancer is about home. So wherever home is for you, find a way to be a leader in that position. 6 would be Leo, just regular Leo. So you're at home per se. So whatever you find your heart to do, you do that. Do it in the now, do it in the moment, do it this second, because you will blaze a trail doing it. Protect your energy as much as possible. But your heart is really with children, doing something for the world, being somebody, doing it in a very royal way, doing it in a very leader-like way, being very focused, being very, being very much a workaholic and not being ashamed of it, doing things big and bad, never doing things really small, and very conscious of things, because you are the sun, so or you're very much a light to the world. Um, um, so even with Leo and Taurus, fifth house and Taurus, you very much are a light as far as like wealth, money, personal wealth. You take personal wealth very seriously. And I would also say fifth house in Leo can be very conscious of their money, depending on the aspects. It can really help you out. And when people fifth house in Leo, it's kind of like the spin-off of Gemini. Don't be keeping up with the Joneses. Like, fuck all that. be mindful of your money and your money story, per se. So you also have to go back to, hold on, let me do this shit real quick. Okay, so Virgo, so Leo and Virgo. So wherever your heart is, like, know the little details of your fifth house in Virgo would be know the little details of your heart's desire. And if your heart is in something that you truly love and you truly desire, know everything about it. Don't be afraid to be obsessive about it. You're actually, it helps you in the way of like really activating your impulsive nature. With Leo in Virgo, with fifth house in Virgo. Virgos, I know for a fact, are very routine, very disciplined. Not like the Capricorn, but very routine. I would say the difference between the discipline of a Virgo and the discipline of a Capricorn is Capricorn is less emotional. They'll do shit whether they feel like it or not. Virgos, if you hit them with enough emotionally, they break, and I noticed that as well. That's why they get angry a lot because they're emotional. The Capricorn will detach after a while, and that detached anger can be very vicious. I be trying to control my shit, but anyway, being a Moon in Capricorn. But the fifth house in Virgo loves entertainment, teaching, healing. They're great healers, but don't be shocked if they're blazing the trail in their teaching, in their work, with their way of really serving. How they serve, they're really trailblazers in how they serve. The sixth house would be sixth sign would be Libra. Okay, so Libra, because of the relationship between the Leo and the Libran, you have a tough time finding balance, in my opinion, because Leos are very black and white. So Libra in the fifth house, you have to really find a common ground, a way to care about others and yourself, the way to will yourself to, because Leo is the house of I will, so you have to really will yourself to, wow, that makes a lot of sense. So in the heart chamber, that makes so much sense. Okay, so in the balance of things, because that's really what Libras really they really symbolize balance. So you have to will yourself to find balance. Now, I don't really like balance. I'm not really a balance type of guy. Being Aries mostly myself. I don't really give a fuck about balance. I'd rather meet harmony. So what brings you harmony in life? So if you work a lot, if you like having a lot of money, don't be ashamed of it. But that doesn't mean you have to flaunt it towards others. Find a way to serve as much as possible with the incoming money that you have, because you will be a trailblazer by natural, right? Because how I tell people is most Libras I know aren't leaders. They're servants, and that doesn't mean leaders are not servants, but they choose positions of power, not necessarily leadership per se. If it's leadership is more like the benefits of leadership. They don't really think of leadership too much, because that's what kind of keeps them humble, I guess. And like for the Libra, it would be the fine arts. It would be fine arts, psychology. How can I help the other, really? And amplified by the Leo, so you'll do it in a bigger way than most. You have Scorpion. Okay, so I personally have read about this, so I know a little bit about this more than any other. So the Scorpion in 5th house. I actually just read about it last night. Actually, it has obsessions with sex. Sex is more of a sport, and if you manage it really well, don't be. It's more control, but don't be surprised if they have a higher sex drive than most. Because Leo is a very sexual sign, but it's more of a playful sexual sign. So that's why it's a sport. It's fun for them. You obsess about your children. You can be very possessive over your children. Like when I was talking to my friend who has a 5th house in Scorpion. Like the way she said "my child," I was like, I mean, well, bam. It's like she said "my" with such a possession. It was fascinating. So you definitely wanna. With the Scorpion in 5th house, you'll probably be shining with the occult. You'll probably be shining with a lot of detective work, digging, researching, etc., etc. And then you have, and also with business, etc., etc. We work, not me work, would help you. Life will test you with especially your expression about loving self, doing for others, testing your willpower, testing how bad you really want things, especially with Scorpion. Scorpions can be going through mad shit. Scorpions be going through mad, like the Aquarian, they be thinking about mad, they be going through mad shit. But you'll never know though. But with the Scorpion in the 5th house, they'll probably be a little less secretive, or the complete opposite, amplified secrecy. So they might be super secretive, super secretive for no goddamn reason. If you have Scorpion in the 5th house, like OD secretive, like oh shit, damn, that makes a lot of sense. Cause like I was talking to my 5th house Scorpion friend, and she's not secret. Let me stop lying. She's secretive, but she's more of like I could see her saying, "I let you know what I want you to know," and that's like a serious statement. Like that's not no bullshit. That's dead ass. Damn. But anyway, but your superpower would be your clear knowing. I said like my North Node's in Scorpion, so I'm naturally gifted at what I would say natural. I'm getting better. It's intuitively gifted to me with the talents of Scorpion. So you come off very sexual. You come off very dominant. You come off very powerful. You come off with a lot of magnetism, etc., etc. With the next sign, that would be Sagittarius. My placement. I'm doing 5th house in Sagittarius right now, which is teaching, building a following. That's very. Don't be surprised if their life is in the spotlight. Even though what's funny, the placement of transformation that I have in my life, which is the North Node Scorpio. So people who knew me growing up, in the next 6 months to 6 years, they probably won't be able to recognize me. They probably won't be able to recognize the following that I have, what I teach, what I show people, what I do online, etc., etc. Um, don't be surprised because, well, they probably will be surprised because of the gifting of, especially with the placements of Sagittarius are for me. Sagittarius goes, you drag it back to Jupiter. I should have places where um, um, into leap for the other side too. So Aries in fifth house. You have to also check where your Mars is. Taurus in fifth house. You have to check where your Venus is. Gemini in fifth house. Check where your Mercury is. To see how you really are structured in that placement, and how you perceive Gemini shit. What else? Leo. Check where your sun is. What your sun sign is. Virgo, check where your Mercury is, even though I forgot where else Virgo rules. I know it's not Venus. I think it is Venus, I think. No, that's Libra. It's Mercury and I forgot where Virgo rules. And then when you have Virgo, you have Cancer, so yeah, my memory's pretty good. Anyway, Cancer, so if you have Cancer in fifth house, you also want to check where your moon sign is, to see how you emotionally process things, etc., etc. And if you have, let's say, Libra, you also want to check you also want to check if you have Libra in the fifth house where your Venus is, and also where your sixth house is. No, Libra was the seventh house. What else? You have Scorpion, so you want to check where your eighth house is. You want to check where you also want to check where your eighth and your planet of Pluto is. So my Pluto is in Sagittarius. So in many regards, my philosophies, where I travel at, especially where I travel, it's going to be in constant transformation. Where else is Sagittarius? Sagittarius is ruled by Jupiter, so my wisdom is going to be expanding. How I expand is going to be changing. So I wouldn't be surprised if I start in the next couple of years like traveling a lot, and I wouldn't be surprised if I start traveling, if I started really reading different occults, if I started connecting different occultic sciences together, if I started to really build a huge following in astrology, numerology, if I started to build a huge following, because Sagittarius are very larger than life signs, because Jupiter is the biggest planet in the solar system that we know of, or at least in our planetary solar system. What else? What else Sag rules? But anyway, Sag also rules. I forgot what part of the body Sag rules. But as far as my heart is concerned, as far as like fifth house, going off in a tangent. Fifth house in Sag. So your heart's with philosophy, your heart's with your obsession, and your heart is with philosophy, reading, gifting, teaching, helping others, traveling, seeing distant lands, being free as much as possible, blazing the trail, being a workaholic. I learned that a lot of Sagittarius have great work ethic. Great work ethic when they're doing shit. Because Sagittarius can be fucking not committed to not a motherfucking thing. Be all over the motherfucking world. But anyway, I be seeing that too. Some Sagittarius be ridiculous. I be like, nigga. But Sag, so that'd be Capricorn in fifth house. Okay, so your self-expression in general is very disciplined. Um, your father was probably very expressive, very really helps you with. He's probably if your I would say if your Capricorn is in fifth house, your father would probably created a platform for you to really build, etc., etc. Because Capricorn is ruled by the planet Saturn, which is also drags to your father. Capricorn, we also could the opposite of that is mother, which is Cancer, which is ruled by the moon. So, um, so wow, that makes a lot of sense. So I'm like getting reflections because my Pisces is in Capricorn. So my father, wow, that makes sense. So my mother told me one time, my father wanted to be a preacher. That makes a lot of sense because my Pisces is in Capricorn. So my father was probably wanted to be upper spiritual occult. Probably wanted to be teaching that, etc., etc., or demonstrating that because Capricorn is one of the few signs that is one of the masters of demonstration. Because they take so long to do things. When I say take long, meaning they their Capricorns are one of the few signs that stand the test of time. Um, and I've heard that an old friendship of mine where she's like, "Yo, when all the shit stops, you're there. You're the last pillar." And that's a fact because my moon is in Capricorn, so like no matter how long the shit takes, I get the shit done. Even though it might take me 10, 15 years, even though it fucks with my brain a little bit because my sun is in Aries, so I don't have the time to be doing no 10, 15 years and shit. But I always respect Capricorns because how they persistent shit, but this shit gets on my nerves. I'm like, yo, how long are you gonna do that, my nigga? Like, man, taking forever. Fuck. But when the shit come out, that shit be looking back at it. I be like, no, bro, how'd you do that? You gotta be patient and shit. Man, fuck all that. Give me give me the synopsis and shit, and like make that shit look. I pay somebody to do that extra shit. But what the Capricorn teaches the Aries a lot is there's no skipping steps and shit. But I be like, my nigga, yo, just fuck all that. That's what the Capricorn and the Aries kind of respect about each other, where they always are about the team, or they need a team per se. Um, Especially when the Capricorn lets go, they know that they need other people to do shit. So, but anyway, um, Capricorn is better than Aries. I ain't gonna hold you. Well, it depends. The Aries maturity really demands a team after a while. But back to the fifth house. The fifth house, especially if you're in Capricorn, is about wealth. It's about royalty. It's about children. It's about disciplining your children. You probably also had a spiritually disciplined father or a spiritually sound father. Um, and he probably has a really your father probably has a huge role on how you express you. So if you depending on what your father was, you have to really either enhance or destroy what he has done. Um, so sixth sign in the fifth house would be Scorpio. No, I did that already. So it would be Sag. No, did that shit already. So it would be Aquarius. I totally forgot Aquarius. So if your Aquarius is in the fifth house, it would be the same thing as Capricorn, but um, due to the fact that it is due to the fact that Uranus is ruled by Aquarius, um, it's either two things. You either, depending on your placement, of course, are either really against your father or really flowing with your father, but you're always innovating how he does things. So let's say your father does real estate. You'll probably flow with that because even though Aquariuses are naturally rebels, but from my uh, experience with them, Aquariuses are natural conformists because they do what people say. And that shit be making me mad. Like I don't be giving a fuck about that because my expression, my deepest self is in Sagittarius. So I do whatever the fuck I want to do, whatever the fuck I feel like it. And that's probably one of the most attractive things that Aquarius loves about Sag, the freedom of saying that they do whatever the fuck they want to do. They really admire their sense of freedom. That makes a lot of sense. Been reflecting on one of my old Aquarius friends and how she keeps dating us Sagittarius, and I get it now because she admires their sense of freedom, because Aquariuses are very much about freedom, and about doing their own shit. They probably don't really like the way the Sagittarius does it because of their impulsivity, but they admire it and they respect it nonetheless, especially the mindset of the Sagittarius. Yeah. So, that being said, you have the Pisces in the fifth house. Totally forgot about Aquarius and Pisces. It's so disrespectful. But your Pisces in fifth house. So Pisces in fifth house, you're probably deeply spiritual. You're probably really worried. You're not even worried. You're probably very. You're probably very aware of your own energy, and aware of other people's energy. Um, uh, um, don't be surprised if you're really gifted at the occult, but you're consciously, or it comes into your universe one way or another, like numbers and shit like that. Hey, then I see 111. Hey, but fifth house, wow. I see that as I'm just gonna check that shit. Anyway, but the fifth house being in, uh, but that's my fifth house in Sagittarius, like that occultic knowing. That, but anyway, if your Pisces is in the fifth house, you probably know a lot about this. It probably comes to your attention a lot. Because also, I would say everybody in the fifth house is where your attention goes. So my attention is always on philosophy, reading. Like, if I'm like dead ass, like, it's not even no bullshit. Like, I be like on the low, I be like skipping through like my business to read about astrology and business and all this other stuff. Traveling is always in my mind. Going, like, I can't stay in one place. Like, it really bothers me staying in one place all day. Like, I'll do it if necessary. But if it was my choice, I'd probably be more at home doing my thing. And the only reason why I move is because my fourth house is in Scorpio, but my fifth house is in Sag. So at home, I'm doing my purpose, especially that fact is my North Node in Scorpio. And then I move on to really building out and really moving on to my fifth house. So how I express myself is always on the move, is always on the go, etc., etc. So the sixth house being, the Pisces being the fifth house, you're probably really good. Probably, your heart is in spirituality. Your heart is in, because Pisces is the sign of spirituality. So your willpower, it will be based on what you believe about you, what you believe about what your belief system is. The Aquarius is your knowing, your deepest knowing helps your willpower. So whenever you intuitively get some shit, or you know some shit to be true, and I mean based on like testing and theory and reading and understanding, don't follow that as much as possible. Follow that and dominate in that as much as possible. The Capricorn, what you use, your resources will also be shown through your willpower. They're shown through your kids, shown through your entertainment, what you know, your romance, etc., etc. You have your Cancer, how you know, that's Sagittarius. Your ability to see shit is really where your willpower is. So, like, if you see yourself doing shit, like, don't be surprised that if the fifth house is also in Sagittarius, your strength, one of your strength is visualization, is mentally seeing this shit. Cause I'm dead ass, like, because my fifth house is in Sagittarius. Like, whenever I see stuff and I really discipline myself to see shit, the shit becoming a pastime. No joke. Visualization is a strong, not gift, but a strong thing I have to discipline myself to do, because it can be a strong thing for me. Because, like, for instance, when I started to write shit down and started to visualize, I instantly start seeing signs. It's not even like, yo, it's not even a joke. But the Scorpion creation is a big thing for you in fifth house. What you create is huge for your life, because if you're not creating, willingly, you feel like you're dying. If you're not doing shit, like you feel like, what the fuck am I doing here? What else? And like, obsession is really important in the fifth house for you. So what you obsess about, will yourself, your will, what you create will always be tested. Your willpower will always be tested in your creations. So take it very seriously and go after it 100%. Don't be afraid to take the leap. Like, fuck it, I'm just gonna jump out there and take it, make it happen. What else? Libra in fifth house. Balance, importance, money, love. Love is probably really, really important in the heart for you. On the fifth house in the heart, it's really important for your life. So don't be surprised if you have a Libra in the fifth house and they're in a relationship and it really enhances their success. But you want to be careful of that, because that can be a huge detriment to your failure as well, because fifth house is the house of romance. Virgo in fifth house, routines is a highlight of your success. It's the highlight. When I say the highlight, bro, it's not even a joke. Your daily routines will make or break you in your fifth house in Virgo. Check them and check your belief behind them. Analyze them, study them, and if you need to adapt new ones, create a routine around it and dominate your shit. Obsess about it, and teach others about it. Once you start to see shit is working, that's the thing about Virgos. I tell people, if a Virgo finds shit that's working, get paid up for it. God damn it, fuck you mean. Leo in fifth house. Innately gifted with leadership, dominance, family, doing things big, creative ability. But we just learn how to take a fucking break and you don't kill yourself. What else? Cancer in fifth house. Mommy like, nurturing, very, very, be careful, because you can attract vampires because you naturally are super warm, super caring, super loving, probably even really shy to some extent. Learn how to nurture yourself so you can amplify your own conscious mind and put your attention on. Be careful on what you nurture, because you might create a life based on that. Gemini in the fifth house. So Gemini in the fifth house, be careful what you think, because you will consciously see it happen in your life. You will consciously, like, dead ass. Like, that's not even a joke. Like, thinking is very important for you, but be careful about what you think about, because in the consciousness of fifth house, you might really. Don't be surprised if you see shit happen really fast when you start to really contemplate shit. Taurus in fifth house. Like I said earlier, sorry, I'm looking at the clouds. Fifth house in Taurus. Like I said, material wealth, but having is important to you. But don't make having your living. Make having detached from you. Learn to be a light for others in having. So if you know people like this in this world, it's really in the capitalistic world, it's really have or have nots. So if you're able to teach others how to have things, like create wealth, create money, create finances, create the life of their dreams, that might really be helpful for you. And Aries in fifth house. Teaching people how to be, teaching people how to love, teaching people how to care, teaching people who they are, who they truly are, really works out for you. And don't be afraid to be the first to do it, especially if it's not being done in your field, etc., etc. Okay, so that's about it. So I probably should go in a lot more depth about that. Yeah, so if you really want to check where your heart's at, know where your fifth sign is, and know what the rulers, the aspects of that sign is. So, yeah, peace.